Okay, today you're going to be looking at the mid-segment of a triangle. Now, what we know is that a mid-segment of a triangle is a segment that connects the points, the midpoints of two sides of a triangle. Every triangle has three mid-segments, and they form a mid-segment triangle. So in our diagram here, we have mid-segment MP, which connects the midpoints M and P, mid-segment MN, and mid-segment NP. So they form the mid-segment triangle of MNP. All right, now we have a theorem that says the segment connecting the midpoint of two sides of a triangle, so in this case, we have a midpoint of D and a midpoint of E, so our mid-segment is DE, is parallel to that third side, so it's DE is parallel to AC, and is exactly half as long as the third side. So DE is 1/2 the length of AC. So let's use this. DE is a mid-segment of triangle ABC. So we know that DE is not only parallel to BC, but it is exactly half the length of BC. So I'm going to put in X for DE and 28 for BC, and I know that DE, or X here, is 14 units long. Now, on this next one, they have told me that DE is the midsegment, so I know D and E are midpoints. Therefore, EC equals AE. The length of EC equals the length of AE, so I'm going to put in X equals 9. All right, now I would like you to try one, so pause your video and try this. I want you to find the length of BC. All right, so you should have written down that DE is exactly, the length of DE is exactly 1/2 the length of BC, which is X. Then put in 15 for DE, multiply both sides by 2, and you get that X, or the length of BC, is 30. Now, they want to find the perimeter of our mid-segment triangle DEF. Well, you know that it's a mid-segment triangle because it connects all the midpoints, and therefore each one of these sides, like DE, is 1/2 the length of the third side, which is BC, so it's 1/2 of 45. I know that DF has to be 1/2 of 38, and I know that F, whatever that is, has to be 1/2 of 13. So perimeter is you add them all up, so 1/2 of 45 is 22.5, 1/2 of 38 is 19, and 1/2 of 13 is 6.5. Add them together, I get that the perimeter of that mid-segment triangle is 48 units. Now, in this diagram, DE is the mid-segment of the big triangle ABC, and FG is the mid-segment of the smaller triangle ADE. So they want you to find the length of segment FG, that mid-segment. Well, I know that DE, since it's a mid-segment, is 1/2 the length of BC, and I also know that FG is 1/2 the length of DE. So I have to find B or DE first. So I'm going to say DE is 1/2 of 52, which gives me 26. I'm going to put that in my other equation, and FG is going to be 1/2 of 26. So FG is going to be 13 units long. All right, now the area of triangle ABC is 48 centimeters square. DE is the midsegment of triangle ABC. So what is the area of the smaller triangle ADE? Well, I have to draw this out to actually visualize it. So as soon as I do draw it out, I know that triangle ADE has a base that's 1/2, but it also has a height that is 1/2. So I'm going to take the area of my large triangle ABC, and I'm going to multiply it by 1/4, because 1/2 times 1/2 is 1/4, and I'm going to get that the area of my small triangle ADE is 12, and I should have put this on here and I didn't, centimeters squared. Okay, now our last example is a word problem, and this is where you might use this stuff. A diagram shows a triangular wood shelf that you want to install, and you want to install a shelf halfway up the 8-foot wall that will be built between the two walls. Okay, good use of space, right? Okay, so as soon as I know that this is halfway up, I know it connects the midpoint, and I want it parallel with the floor, right? So it's got to connect with the midpoint on the slanted wall. So how long would the shelf be? Well, if it's in the middle, it's 8 foot up, then it's going to be half the length of the floor, which is 7.5 feet. And since it's parallel to the bottom, it's going to be exactly 1/2 the length of the other wall, which is 1/2 of 17, so it's going to be 8.5 foot up on the slanted wall. Okay, I think you have what you need. Go back and watch any of this that you need again and try the homework.